Okay, hello there. As I've mentioned numerous times in my reviews, I've been reading through Marvel Comics for from 1961, basically the first issue of Fantastic Four. I'm not reading everything. I'm not reading like the quote unquote girls comics, love romances, Patsy and Hetty. I'm not reading the westerns. I'm not reading even Sergeant Fury, which is part of the Marvel universe, stuff like that. I'm basically just reading the superhero comics, and basically because I'm reading the French editions, collected editions to work on my French, and some of them like Strange Tales I'm not reading, but for the most part I'm reading everything, like the superhero comics. And uh, I've mentioned before, some of them are better than others. Especially, I think right now at this point, Fantastic Four, Spider-Man are the strongest comics. A lot of the other ones are either bad or just very disposable and not very original. But some of them are pretty good, and they're getting better, I would say. So I thought I'd look at for 1963 because I just finished. Have I finished actually? No, I have one more issue, this Spider-Man to read. But otherwise, I've read everything that I want to read in 1963. And I'm going to pick my top 10 covers for this year. And I have done so. So let's do a countdown. Let's begin with number. Oh, well, I'll tell you after. I was going to break down who did the art on most of the covers. I mean, for the most part, Kirby did far more covers than anyone else, as near as I can tell. Ditko did covers for some of them too, but Kirby was the go-to cover artist for Marvel at this point, and basically the go-to artist. If he had time, they would put him on a comic. So, anyways, let's count down and go through my top 10. Starting at number 10, I actually just talked about this in my review of the first Giant Man. I went into the comic itself. Oh, what is this? Okay, there we go. Let's get a bigger image if we can. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so yeah, I just talked about this cover and the art, which is, if you look down here, you can see it says Don Heck, but I'm dubious that it's just Don Heck. I think my guess is that Kirby did the layout for this, but I could be wrong. Maybe it's totally Don Heck. Either way, I think it's a great cover, and you know, I'm not picking these just based on how iconic they are and how memorable they are. I'm basically how cool I think they look. And yeah, this is the first appearance of Giant Man, but I think it also is just a nice cover, well designed. Although this villain's not really doing much. He's just kind of swiping his hand, which looks kind of weird. But he's, when you realize he's a racing Ant-Man, okay, it's kind of cool. So that's my number 10. Let's move on now to number 9. We have, what is number 9? There's a lot of comics that I'm leaving out because there's just a lot of great covers in this year. Some of them are not that great, but there's a lot of great ones, and I couldn't get all of them in. So number 9, Hulk, Incredible Hulk number 5. The Hulk only got 5 issues before how do I get this to show up bigger? I guess I have to open a new tab. He only got he got 6 issues before they kind of shuffled him off to the Avengers and other places, and then he kind of just went in limbo, and then he came back in Tales to Astonish. But I thought this cover, which is, again, this is definitely a Jack Kirby cover, is pretty great. I think it just really captures the Hulk, in a way, for this era of Hulk. He's just like this giant baby that's exploding through walls and tearing things apart, and even his so-called friends, Rick Jones and Betty Ross, whatever her name is. And he's in ancient Rome or something. I don't remember what the villain is, but I thought this was a great cover, and I'm basically asking myself, could these be posters? And I think this is a really good poster of the Hulk in terms of his power and so on. So I thought that was a good cover. And back to number 8, we have Fantastic Four. Actually, I gave Fantastic Four. It got more covers than any other title. So the number 8, I picked Fantastic Four number 16, which is, where is it? Oh, here it is. Oh yeah, it was this kind of iconic Doctor Doom cover. Let's look at it bigger. Yeah, I thought it's just kind of a cool cover, I thought. Why is this showing up still? Okay, there we go. Yeah, I just like this giant. It's just ridiculous. It's a huge Doctor Doom. I don't think he's huge. Oh wait, maybe he does. Yeah, he shrinks the Fantastic Four. I think in this issue, I thought it was just like a symbol that he's like powerful, but Ant-Man gets involved, and yeah, I thought this is a very cool cover. And again, this is a Kirby cover. I'm pretty sure. No doubt about that. Um, yeah, Doctor Doom had, I don't know how many appearances he'd done at this point. At least 4 or 5, I'm guessing, and it's just a cool cover. It has the Fantastic Four. There's a lot of the Incredible Shrinking Man. Those kind of movies were kind of popular. So I think that's where Ant-Man came from, and I think that's where he decided to include the Fantastic Four in that trend. So cool cover. All right. So number 7, we have another Fantastic Four title, Fantastic Four number 10. Oh yeah, this one. The evil Reed Richards cover, which there's a few things about this cover that I love. First, it has Reed Richards looking really weird, and it has the Fantastic Four kind of sparring with Doctor Doom in the background. But then it has Stanley and Jack Kirby, who I think this is their first appearance in a Marvel comic. They started to do this kind of meta thing, which was very ahead of its time and very unusual for a comic. But yeah, I think this is just a funny cover. There's no background, but I love it. It just works for me in a lot of ways, but especially the evil Reed Richards and the inking here. I don't know who did this inking. I would love to know. Maybe Dick Ayers. Probably a Dick Ayers inking, I'm guessing, but could be wrong. But this is also the more of the oatmeal era when the thing looked more like just a bowl of oatmeal or something. He doesn't have quite the plates quite defined on his body, but yeah, I love this cover. So, anyways, that's number 7 for me. Moving on to number 6, what do we have? All right, number 6, I picked. Oh, this is the only Spider-Man cover that made the cut for me, and I was kind of thinking about that why, but let me show you the cover. I just think Ditko has some great covers coming up. You may or may not realize that the very first image of Spider-Man cover is Amazing Fantasy number 15, which Ditko did not do. That's actually a Jack Kirby cover. Why is this not hiding? Yes, hide the toolbars. Okay, there we go. So the famous Spider-Man cover where he's swinging, he's holding the thug, and he says like the world may not know whatever that Peter Parker's Spider-Man, blah blah blah. So this cover though, I thought was the best of Ditko's covers this year. It has a lot of cool architecture at this angle that makes it really feel like there's a lot of drama to the pose, and it's also black and white in the background, but color in the foreground. You got Spider-Man's sense tingling that he's obviously going to die by the Vulture. I think this is the first appearance of the Vulture. I don't know if we need this little caption thing, but it's kind of, I don't know. It doesn't bother me. Like I feel like it works with we're working the advertising angle of really promoting what's going on in this issue, and we have the Terrible Tinker. The Terrible Tinker doesn't seem quite as important a character compared to the Vulture. He's just holding a tinker, a toy or something, and he's zapping Spider-Man with it somehow. So, but I just think that this is really a good representation of Spider-Man in this early era, Ditko era. Ditko, of course, did I think about 39 issues of Spider-Man, or through Amazing Spider-Man 39. He also did some annuals and other spin-offs. Okay, so that's the only Ditko cover that made the cut. Doctor Strange had not yet been introduced. Oh wait, no, he had been introduced, but I don't think he's on any covers at this point. Let's see. So Doctor Strange showed up in Strange Tales, number 110, I believe. Yeah, it looks like at this point, the Human Torch is still getting the most of the Strange Tales covers. I don't think Doctor Strange makes a comeback yet. Yeah, it's all Strange Tales. Okay, so moving on. Number 5, Journey into Mystery. This is the only Thor title that I picked. And why did I pick this one? Where is it? Journey into Mystery number. Actually, I'm going to show. This isn't the one I chose, but this one's pretty good too. I just want to take a look at it. This is not the issue I picked. I think the reason I didn't pick this one is because it just has like this big block, kind of blocking half the cover. But I did like it. I thought the inking's cool, and I like this foreshortened Thor about to be buried under this building. But this one was ultimately not my choice. The one I did choose. Let's take a look. The one I chose was, let's see, Journey into Mystery number 92, which is the one right after that. Oh, here we go. Yeah, the one with Loki on the cover. I thought this was good. And okay, so first off, I like the inking. I think it looks kind of absurd, but it also kind of works. And I don't know why this toolbar doesn't. Okay, anyways, I like the kind of ghosty background. How it's just kind of empty. Oh, this is again obviously a Kirby cover. I like Kirby's eyes are always kind of, or often, not always, but often very kind of ghost-like. He doesn't, especially in Loki right here. Look at the eyes. They're just so. They're not as like characterized. That's one thing that Ditko could do better is eyes, I think, than Kirby. But I just don't know. I just like this. It has a lot of drama. It really captures the kind of mythical quality of what's going on in the Thor comics at this time. Actually, the Thor interiors I did not care for the most part. They're usually, I think Don Heck did the art, and they're not very good. I don't think. I like the art with Kirby in them, but Kirby was mainly doing Tales of Asgard, the backup feature. Whatever reason, he liked that more, and he didn't have time or whatever interest in doing Thor. I think he may return to Thor though. We'll see in 1964, but I think he did most of the covers, and the covers are pretty great. A lot of wonderful. The hammer is very foreshortened. I don't know. It just works. The shattering of the chain and the thought balloons. I love the. He could be saying this. I don't know why. I guess he wouldn't be saying this because he doesn't want Loki to know. I don't know if Loki knows about his 60-second time limit, which is always kind of stupid, 60-second time limit of not having a hammer. Why 60 seconds? I don't know. Anyways, also I just noticed this green outline for the bubble of Loki kind of matches his uniform. Very, very cool. So anyways, yeah, the only Thor cover that I thought made the cut. There were some other good, oops, that's not what I want. There were some other good Thor covers, but I think that was the best. All right, where were we? That was number 5. Going down to number 4 in some really competition. This one was interesting. I picked the first appearance of Iron Man cover, which, it's kind of an unusual cover because we have these 3 panels with just the equipment, and then who Iron Man. Oh yeah, Iron Man. And it's kind of weird too because there's no way you could read these 3 panels without seeing this character of Iron Man first. So it's like you can't really hide what you're leading up to, and yet for whatever reason the colors are it's very muted color scheme, almost like this turquoise, like dark turquoise. And at this point, Iron Man was gray. The first few issues, he's just like this ugly gray. So it's like, why did I pick this cover? I guess because it's very iconic, but it's also just very, like I said, very unusual to me that it works. The design by not having any background, by just having these very muted colors, except for the Tales of Suspense logo, which is a bright red, kind of clashing with it. And it could be maybe just because I've seen this cover so many times. It's one of those, the first appearance of a character often you see it a lot, but I don't know. I like it, and it is obviously a Kirby cover. You can tell by the inking and everything. So yeah, Tales of Suspense number 39, first appearance of Iron Man, who would change uniforms a few times this year. Change his design. All right, moving on to number 3, Fantastic Four number 12. Where is that? Number 11. Oh, okay. Oh yeah, the Thor and not Thor, the Hulk and Thing cover. This is a pretty famous cover, and the Hulk actually looks different almost every time, every month or two. Seems like Jack Kirby was redesigning the Hulk. He looks more like Frankenstein here to me. It looks kind of like thinner and longer, but and we have the Fantastic Four creeping up and about to. Sorry, my dog's barking. Okay, I think she's done. She's probably not done, but I'm gonna keep going. Hope she doesn't keep barking. She's still barking. Anyways, yeah, I just love this cover. The thing looks actually. Forget what I was saying about eyes. I feel like the eyes in this cover work really well, and I think this cover just works because there's not, there's not the obvious like characters punching each other. It's just like the moment when they're about to confront each other. It just works so well. It's like the sense of drama and suspense. What's going to happen? So, and I like how there's no subtlety in the dialogue, though. At last, the Fantastic Four meet the Hulk. The Hulk is nearby. I can feel it. Yeah. No, thank you, Human Torch, with your flame sense, the equivalent of the Spidey sense. Um, the Hulk. I mean, not the Hulk. The Thing also looks here like he's starting to take on that plate-like appearance. That this is what I kind of consider the more definitive look of the whole of the Thing during the Kirby era, anyways. And he seems to almost be though in this transition between the two states, of the oatmeal state and the plate state. Also, I like how Mr. Fantastic, he's like holding. Is he holding onto her hand? Let's see. Right. He's like almost kind of just holding on to Sue's hand. So, anyways, colors in this are also very beautiful. I think they realize that the green of the Hulk and the purple go well with gray, and so a lot of very subtle colors, except for our heroes and our other kind of anti-hero, the Hulk. So great cover. Again, this is a Kirby cover, pretty sure. I just noticed actually the Hulk only has 3 toes. That's weird. Maybe I've noticed that before, but also his knees and his shins are like kind of collapsing in on themselves because he weighs so much or something. But cool cover. All right, now we're getting into the real absolute classic covers. We're on number 2, which is yeah, this cover. I'm sure most of you have seen this cover. Let me mention a few other titles that I did not include. This Spider-Man cover is pretty iconic. This the first issue of Spider-Man, but it doesn't work for me as well as the first issue of the Amazing Fantasy 15 issue, which I think is absolute classic. This is just kind of like everyone's so small. I feel like I want them all to be larger. The Fantastic Four is just these tiny little figures in the background. So I did not pick that one. And let's see, are there any other kind of classic iconic covers that I'm not including? I didn't include this whole cover. I didn't include the Submariner's butt cover. What was his cover? It's a large image, which sometimes works, but I don't know. Having the Submariner's butt shoved in your face doesn't really work for me. Although I think Sue looks kind of cool here. Their uniforms look really dark blue. All right. So a lot of great covers, but many that I didn't include Strange Tales, Spider-Man. This one doesn't. This cover doesn't work for me as much. Oh yeah, actually, I think this. Let me look at this. This may be a Kirby cover. It says Pencil or Jack Kirby. That may be the interior. I think this may be. Yeah, this looks like a Kirby Spider-Man, which is just kind of, except for that Amazing Fantasy 15. For the most part, I felt like Kirby's Spider-Man just looks kind of weird. Doesn't Spider-Man have a thing on his chest too, like a spider? Seems like Kirby just forgot it. All right, so a lot of other iconic covers, but the ones, my final two, I'm pretty sure you're going to recognize because they're pretty famous. So I picked the Avengers #2 as number two. Oh, I'm sorry, the Avengers #1 is my second choice, and this is a pretty famous cover. Okay, and again, obviously a Kirby cover. This looks like I would have to get. I would guess. What's his face? I'm blanking on that. The inker, who I think the inker is. Anyways, I can't remember. I'm blanking on his name. I said it earlier, but anyways, I think this format of a character's shoulder kind of framing the image or kind of hanging halfway off the image is kind of good, and obviously it includes four of our or five of our iconic heroes: Iron Man, Ant Man, the Wasp, Thor, and Hulk. But it just has like a level of drama, and I don't know, maybe just because I've seen it a million times, but I think it's a great cover. Also, you notice in the top left that the Wasp is not included. So there's, Thor, Iron Man, Hulk, and Ant Man, even an ant, even the ant that Ant Man's sitting on, like a horse, is included, but not the Wasp because she's a woman. So, yeah, beautiful cover. Every inch of space is used so wonderfully. It's like they Kirby didn't waste any inch of it. Like we have the hammer up here, we have the dialogue, everything just works. Even also in the top, Thor, Ant Man, Hulk, Iron Man, no Wasp. The Wasp is a kind of a funny character. Her dad was like some spy rich guy or something, and then he died. So Ant Man adopted her, and she was immediately in love with him. But it's just a platonic relationship, or is it? We'll see. So yeah, that's my second choice. So what's my number one choice? Well, you may have already guessed. Actually, it came out same month. I don't know if it maybe even the same week, September 1963, according to here. Yeah, according to this, same week. Can you imagine seeing both of these titles on the newsstand and grabbing them both? That would have been a mind-blowing experience. Although the art, I talked about this before, the art in X-Men #1, which is my number one choice if you hadn't figured it out. The art is not very good inside, but the cover, great cover, Jack Kirby cover. Let's see. I know the reason I think that I chose this one as number one over the Avengers, and it has a very similar structure, right? Just like the villain on the left, large. We see more of Magneto than we saw of Loki, but he's much smaller and so on. But very similar. The characters are all just kind of lined up and attacking him, so almost the exact same style and structure. But I think this one works a little better because I guess because we see more of Magneto. Although there's a lot to be said for the Avengers one, but yeah, early X-Men did not apparently catch on quite as much as later X-Men once Wolverine and Storm and all these other 70s characters were introduced. But at this point, the X-Men were all wearing the same uniforms, except for the living snowball Iceman. And yeah, I love all these wavy things coming out of Magneto too, just in case you weren't clear that he was a master of magnetism. And for whatever reason, they put all these ugly Marvel URLs and Marvel copyright on the bottom. You will notice actually that we get what's her name? Jean Grey gets to show up on in the little box thing here, but for whatever reason the Beast doesn't. And is that everybody? Oh, and also Angel, Archangel later on, but at this point just Angel. Actually, Angel's kind of crotch looks kind of confusing. Like, are we seeing is this his front or his back? I can't tell, but never mind. Stop staring at the Angel's crotch and focus on the drama of Cyclops trying to blast through some magnetic field that Magneto has erected. So, anyways, those are my top 10 for 1963 Marvel Comics. Are you, if you're furious that I left some title out, please let me know. Maybe it's this first appearance of the Porcupine Man or whatever his name was in Tales to Astonish. Or actually, this was a really good cover that I almost included. And I talked about this before. I did an entire episode on this, but the sort of first appearance of Captain America. This is a Jack Kirby cover, and the art inside is Jack Kirby. Oh, no, not. Is it Dick Ayers? Is that the inker I was thinking of? Doesn't matter. Anyways, yeah, I almost included this cover, but I did not. So there's a lot of titles I could have included, a lot of great covers, mostly by Jack Kirby, that for this year, too many great titles to include them all. And 1964 is where I'm going next. And I think there's even more titles that came out in 1964. And can't wait to dive into those. And I'm sure when I finish them, I'll do another look at the top 10 covers for 1964. A lot of great stuff coming. Look at this cover. There's a sneak preview of 1964. Giant Man versus the Hulk. Beautiful cover. So be there, make sure you're subscribed, and I'm continually looking at all kinds of comics, not just Marvel comics, but new and old comics, what have you. So make sure you're subscribed and see you there. Bye.